In 1996, I graduated from Gladstone High School in Azusa. And I took a year off, and then I went to Brooks College in Long Beach. And I stayed in the dorms. And it was the first time alone, without family, without basically being controlled. And I had a roommate, and she was from Washington, and she was really nice. We got along, but she was only there for like, I think it was a month or two. A very short time. She quit. She left. She was African American, and I think she was saying that her boyfriend was white. And she was being bullied. And she was harassed by other African American girls, giving her a hard time. And she said that she'd never experienced this before. So it's, I guess, wherever town she was from must have been the right one to live in, because she didn't experience racism, which is, what the goal for the whole world. So she didn't stand up to him, and I don't judge it. She left. She went home. She gave me her comforter, and it was a treasured gift. I kept it for a very long time. It was comforting to me. But that left me in a situation where the school said if I didn't find a roommate, I was going to become responsible for the whole rent. And my loans covered my rent for the year. That would come out of my pocket because my loans were exhausted. So I had to find a roommate, or I was going to have to start paying rent for the other half of the room. I was given a list of people who needed a room, and I worried about this at first. Then I realized I didn't have to call these people, because making phone calls was a frightening thing for me. So that and strangers terrify me. And I had the real estate. I was in a position that I had the thing that was desired. So all I had to do was sit back and wait. And sure enough, I did. I sat back and I waited. And someone came to my door. Knocked on the door. She said she needed to go to a new dorm. This was a friend of mine. She was, European American. And she said that she was typing all night on her computer, and it was driving her roommate crazy, and her roommate threatened to destroy her computer. This is not an issue for me because I lived with my mom for a long time, and she often spent nights typing away on the computer, so not an issue. I remember this girl, she came in, and I wanted to be friends. I wanted to connect. And I remember one of the first things I could do for her was, she lost her keys. She hadn't even moved in yet. She lost her keys, and she's like, oh no, I lost my keys. I don't know where my keys were, I just had them. And I'm looking at her, and she was wearing like overalls. she's kind of on the short side. And find that people who are shorter tend to look really cute in overalls. Not so much for anybody who's large. We tend to look like we're, farm equipment. But she was cutie, and so I told her to jump up and down. She looked at me like I had two heads. I said, bear with me. Jump up and down. She's like, alright, I'll play along. So she jumps up and down, and sure enough, jingle, jingle, jingle. There are her keys. She had them in her pocket. It was a different pocket than she normally uses. And, she would have found them eventually. There's no doubt that it would have just taken a few minutes for her to calm down. She would have found them. But, just, if you got something that jingles, why not do a little jump? Make them jingle. It's faster. She moves in, and she likes to bicycle. She had 10-speed. She would bike long. She'd go for a ride. She was typing a lot. She introduced me to Japanese anime. Some tragic ones, but also some funny ones. And I really enjoyed them. I really liked them a lot. And it took a while for me to be able to tell the characters apart, because facial recognition is hard for me, and more so when there's very little distinction in features. So it took a while, but I got a hang of it. I started going to classes. She was a fashion merchandiser. I was fashion design, so we didn't have the same classes, but we did hang out more often. And then I had a couple classmates. I had an older classmate. She was only a couple years older. She was like, I think 23 or something. And she had a kid. And she was hanging out with me. And she was pretty wild. And then there was this other girl. She was Mormon. And she was engaged to be married. And she had to be about my age. I think she might have been a year younger. And then I ended up meeting somebody. I was just sitting outside, and they introduced themselves, invited me to church. So I had this really, really tall friend that was from church. And so I would say friend, because they were kind to me. They had interest in spending time with me. The odd thing was, none of them liked each other. And at one point, they were all asking me for my attention. It was the first time that I had to schedule out my time to other people, because they all wanted my time. And how to juggle who gets me when. It was weird. Actually, I set out time to go to the movies with my roommate, because she missed me because I was gone all the time. I had a couple times where I didn't come home because I spent the night at one of my classmates' houses. And a really odd thing happened was that my Mormon friend who was getting married, she tried to hook me up with her fiance, which was weird. And I said no. Yeah, dude also tried to talk to me through the computer and tried to use a different name. And I quickly realized who he was and told him no again. They wanted to have a threesome. Apparently, there was some weird thing happened between them, that she had an ex-boyfriend join them in bed, so then now he gets to pick somebody, and he, for some reason, chose me. I don't know him, and I didn't want to know him. I thought the whole situation had dropped later, because it'd been like months, and they didn't bring it up again. And I was going to end up renting an apartment off campus for the summer. We were going to get an apartment together. And then I realized that they were still had this mindset, and then I canceled that. Yeah. I was not going to be dealing with that at all. My friend with the kid, she would smoke pot, and she practiced Wicca, which was cool, and she was very outgoing, very cool, far more interesting than I was. And then the church friend, they were very kind of cultish, very restrictive, very judgmental, and at a point where I was like, you know what, I have to break this one off, because it's not mentally healthy. They're just, something's just not right. So I broke off the relationship, and my roommate, she ended up moving to someone else. She moved to another room, and I ended up with a third roommate. Once again, waited for someone to show up, and sure enough they did, and she was staying with me for the summer. And this girl, she moved in, she brought like a small box in, and then I never saw her again. And the rent was being paid. I can only assume that she was telling her parents that she was at the dorm, and that she was probably living off campus with some guy. That's all I could figure. So I had the place to myself all summer. But that was the closest to like making friends that I had. And I was there, and I realized I was not fashion design material. First clue was when they asked, who is your favorite fashion designer? And people just off the top of their heads were rattling off fashion designers' names. And I didn't know any fashion designers. I had no clue. I didn't know who was in fashion design. All I knew was that when I drew people, I had to put clothes on them. And so I would design clothes onto these people just because I was drawing people, and I had to put clothes on them. And I enjoyed putting clothes on them. And when I had dolls, I enjoyed making clothes for my dolls. And so then I realized that though people might have jobs in the industry, a lot of these jobs are like seamstress jobs. That was not what I was looking for. I'm terrible sewing. And then I couldn't afford the second year. So I ended up not being able to go back. Ended up with student loans for school that I didn't even graduate. Couldn't get the degree because I couldn't afford to go back the second year. It's a 2 years university, 2-year degree for fashion design, and couldn't do nothing with it. And so, but I think out of everybody I met there, I had to break off the friendship with the religious girl. I had to break off the friendship with the girl with her boyfriend. I wish I had stayed in touch with my crazy older friend. She was pretty cool. I look her up every once in a while because I know her name. And I keep hoping that she made it into the industry because she wanted to be a fashion designer. And I keep looking for her. I haven't yet seen her. But, you know, I wish her well. And then, but I did keep in touch with my old roommate, the second one, the one that I used to hang out with. When she was dating online, she had a long distance relationship. I actually had a competition with her significant other in gift giving. Because, I guess I felt a little, like I cared about her, and I wanted her to be treated right. And coming from abusive situations, I think both of us had abusive dads in the house. And so, I would see the little thing that her partner would send, and so I would try to top it. And then her partner would send something else, and I would top that. And, like, I knew her favorite cereal was Lucky Charms. I knew, you know, her favorite anime. I knew, like, all this stuff about her. And so, I remember I made her a hand-painted scarf, silk, you know. And then, her partner got a still from her anime. A movie still. I was like, oh, there we go. And they didn't work out in the end. I mean, I still have a little connection on Facebook with her. They didn't work out, that person and her. But she found another person, and they're married. And they're enjoying life. And they do a lot of things. She's, like, big on Disneyland. And she likes running and biking and outdoorsy. She's very sportsy. So she's just living her life, and they're just living it together and having a great time. So I'm glad to still have a connection. I think she even bought my book, which was fun because I only know a few people who actually know me and bought my book. I think she read it. I think she did. I'm not sure. So, anyways, that was Brooks College. I would not recommend Brooks College. It seemed nice. It did. If you want to learn fashion design and how to make clothing for, like, cosplay, and you had the funds to just do it, because it's a private school, you can't use the grants, right? You have to do either your own money or you gotta go into debt. If you just want to be able to learn make stuff, that's great. I don't really see it as something you're gonna become the next runway person. Although while there, they had this table They had M&Ms. If you filled out a credit card application, you got like a 5-pound bag of M&Ms. I was starving, and so I filled out the application and ended up with a credit card. And then I was just gonna leave it in my wallet, and then somebody told me that if you don't use the card, they cancel it. So I went to spend a little bit of it, and never having money, I maxed it out right away. Started making payments on it, and then a second card showed up. So I was gonna be a little smarter about this one. You know, I'm gonna be smarter about this one and maxed it out right away. Not smart. So I was making payments. The company the cards came from got bought by another company, which then became something else. I lost the actual cards. I have no idea what happened to them. And so I've had over the years, I've had different people come back and say that they have my card, which, you know, I do have a debt, but I need proof that it's my debt I'm paying off and not someone else's. So I just need to see something with my signature on it, so I know it's mine. And they always fail to show me something with my signature. That I need to know that I'm paying off my credit card and not paying off, you know, Joe Blow down the street, and then my credit card is still sitting out there. You know, I need my credit card paid off. So if it's my credit card, show me my signature, because I had to sign. And I'm sure they will find me. I'm sure they'll find me someday. Probably when they've racked up $1 million in debt. And then they're like, oh, by the way, now we found you. Yeah, I wasn't hiding. I'm not hiding anywhere. I've been online for years. So, anyways. The candy was good, though. I had M&M's for a long time. And, yeah, that school was fun, somewhat, and thoroughly a waste of time. Never did anything with it. Wasn't the last time I went to school, though. I looked at community college like it was, where the bad kids go. And it's not. I don't know how I got into my head that the bad kids go to the community college and the good kids go to university. But I did go to the community college, and I went for 4 years doing art. And then I did some general ed. But at Citrus Community College in Covina, I couldn't do the math, so I had to leave. And then I tried again in Mount San Jacinto, and by then I was 30 something. I was 30 years old. Went back to school, did math, did all my units, and I graduated with a 2-year degree that took me 8 years to get. 4 years when in my 20s, and then 4 years in my 30s, and I had enough credits, and I graduated with a 2-year degree in humanities, because they didn't have an English degree. Now they do. They got the English degree after I had already graduated with the humanities degree. Really sad. I was working toward transfer units, because I'm short like 12 units to transfer to university. Unfortunately, I had to stop, and I realized I don't need it. I already published my book, and I have other works being worked on, and I got enough stories, and I don't need the degree. I don't need to kill myself in debt to get to where I want to go. So it's not a priority. Plus, I was having kids while I was doing the last couple years. So now I just focus on providing for my family and trying to get some stories written. And that's my priorities right now. That and my pets, the chickens and my dog. Anyways, that would be it for tonight. This is kind of long. Sorry about that. I get on tangents, and you might see the pattern. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys later, and the next video is going to be probably talking about my autism and my son's autism. And autism was not diagnosed until much later, and how it was missed, and what life was like being autistic and nobody realizing it. So, like, subscribe, comment. I'm on Twitter, and I am learning so much from this group on Twitter called Actually Autistic. Hashtag Actually Autistic, which is really cool. And I relate so much to the autistic memes out there. So, it's nice being able to relate so strongly and know that you're not crazy, or that you're not the only one who's experiencing these things. So, anyways, another video another day. Alright, bye.